The Avatar 3 Fire and Ash trailer is finally here. It's been out for a couple of days now after being exclusively in theaters. And yes, I'm showing the end of the trailer to start, but we're going to break it down. The first opening of this trailer shows Wolok and most likely Neteyab in a flashback scene. Or Wolok's communicating and remembering times with his brother from the Cove of the Ancestors. Like Jake Sully did at the end of Avatar 2, The Way of Water, with his wife Neytiri. The next shot of the trailer, we see Wolok and his future mate underwater traveling, and we see an RDA boat ship, and it's not that big sea dragon, what they call it, but I'm not sure if they're looking for something or just passing through something, and we see the beauty of the underwater and the wildlife of the fish that live under, which we'll probably see some more fish and some creatures maybe in this installment. So yeah, moving on, the next we see Kiri and those jellyfish-like things, and you can tell we're going to learn more about where she came from, why she has no father, a little more, and why she's connected to Eywa, but we won't learn the whole thing. Next we see Wolok and, I forget her name, in the shot of the village, and you can tell Wolok is struggling since the loss of his brother, and she is going to be teaching more, like in that scene where she says the strength of the ancestors is in the heart. Next we see these flying boat things, and you get a nice view of Pandora. Kiri's obviously enjoying it, just like her mother, Grace, in the original film, played by both the same actress. And we get a first look at Pylok, right here, which I'll show in an arrow, who's going to be played by David Sumpin from Harry Potter. And you get a nice final view of a sunset, and it just looks great. Next you get a look at the Ash people's location. And you see Quaritch walking by himself, and there's a theory a lot of people, which I agree with, possibly that, which we'll find out, that he's been exiled from the RDA for his failure to kill Jake Sully. And next we see another shot of the Ash people's location. It just looks lifeless, sad, and like no green. Like you really see that this is a dark area of Pandora, and you can see the Ash clan, I forget what they're called, I might have trouble pronouncing it. I'm only human, guys. Don't call me a scound, which means moron. Hey, do you see what I did there? No? But you see them obviously ready to defend their territory, seeing Quaritch walk. Next you see Spider and Kiri, and you look closer, you can see Kiri, the youngest child and the youngest daughter of Jake, Sully, and Neytiri's family, and you can see that they're obviously ready to defend themselves because something is coming that way. And next you can see Wolok and the daughter of the person who plays Travis from Fear the Walking Dead, this character's daughter, and you can tell they're falling in love. And then you see Jake Sully trying to talk with Wolok, and you can tell he's really struggling with the death of his older brother Neteyab. Speaking of having a hard time accepting, Neytiri is told by Jake you cannot live a life filled of hate. I really can't wait to see how Zoe performs as a grieving mother and just filled with anger after losing her oldest son. And you can tell, I think my series is going to be very right. She hates humans, even the good ones that she's going to have a hard time trusting because after what she's been through. And then we get a shot at Quaritch putting his hands up, like saying, I come in peace. And I really think he has been exiled for his failure to kill Jake Sully. And after all the resources wasted and the death of all the men and women in the RDA from the second film, like, and as you look closely, you get just more look at the land, that it's just dead and lifeless and soulless. And you get a look at, if you look closely, you get more shots of the Ash people's versions of Banshees, and they really probably give you a terrifying feeling if you were walking on your own in Pandora and you see them. Next you see Jake Sully bonding with Spider, and he doesn't have a mask on. Yes, he does not have a mask on. Look closely. Which I don't know why, but we'll find out. Next we see Kiri talking to Kate Winslet's character, saying if there's something you can do, then you must do it. So she's saying, do what you have to do. to protect this clan and your family. Next, we see the village has been attacked, and the Ash people and the RDA have formed an alliance with each other. And you see Quaritch standing there, you see Bran standing there, and just a bunch of RDA troops and Ash people, and they're probably going to give a warning for Jake Sully to stand down, or else something will happen. I'm not sure if they're going to fight in the scene, but it's going to be interesting, the conflict, and when Jake finds out Quaritch is alive. Next, we see Quaritch and Corporate Rinsley still alive, which I'm really glad. Not all of Quaritch's recon crew are dead, so I was really disappointed that like pretty much all of them was killed off last time, so I'm really glad like one of them is still alive, and I'm pretty sure he's not going to survive this film. I'm not sure if he's signed up for the next film, Corporate Winsley, but we'll find out. Next we see Brang, and she really gives me the creeps. Even seen her in a teaser trailer, even though this movie's not finished yet. We see their tents, their village really just has a bunch of creepy vibes with bones, fossils, and we see their flying things. Then they really look deadly compared to the banshees that the normal forest Na'vi have. Then we see the Ash people looking to defend themselves because they have no idea who Quaritch is. And they got a bunch of bones and stuff as their piercings. And in their paintings is all red, their face paintings. Then they really give some creepy vibes with some black as well. So it's going to be interesting, Quaritch arriving, seeing this scene. I can't wait to hear the music as well in a lot of these scenes when the full thing is ready. So this is where I'm pretty sure Quaritch is going to talk about making a deal with them, which they do make a deal, and it looks like they're getting some supplies since their civilization was destroyed years ago. And when you see Quaritch and RDA, when I first saw this trailer, I thought maybe Quaritch wasn't exiled, but looks like they have arrived, and they're carrying a bunch of supplies and weapons. Looks like they made a deal with some stuff so they can have some more resources. I think that's what happens. They make a deal with the RDA and Quaritch. And you see just so foggy how dead their land is and soulless. Next you see a scene where Na'vi is doing something with the fire. I think that's Brang. Next, if you see closely, those arrows are on fire. So these Na'vis have type of arrows that the forest people don't have. Next, we see Neytiri, who's waking up from an injury, and you look at the shoulder. She's been shot in the shoulder with an arrow, and she's wearing that medical thing that doctors put on the nose to keep breathing, or had surgery. And then we see Spider get shot, and this is where a theory where people say that Spider is going to get his own avatar body, or his soul transferred into an avatar body, just like how Jake Sully did at the end. But don't you have to be worthy of doing that, if I'm correct? If I remember? Like, because we know Grace didn't pass through into her avatar body. Next, we're at the Bridgehead City, which we saw in Avatar 2: The Way of Water, and Jake Sully's been captured by the Ash Clan and the RDA, and I like how people are taking pictures and recording it, and they're probably booing him in that scene, calling him a race traitor and all that, and just people are going to throw things at him, I probably predict, and I'm not sure if he turns himself in or he's actually gets captured, but I think most likely he turns himself in to protect his family. And you see cameras, people taking video cameras, pictures, and it's probably being broadcasted to Earth, showing that Jake Sully has been captured and they're going to execute him. Then we see Neytiri flying injured, and a nice shot of the moon, and she's been shot and barely hanging on, and then it cuts to a part where she says we'll find another way, and we get some battle shots of them ready to fight, and just a lot of epic things that they want to show us in the trailer. And Jake and Neytiri just look great in this scene. And as you can see, Banshees from probably their clan, they're gonna fight. And then we see Barang say charge, Neytiri taking a shot, and a Spider fighting. Then Spider slipping at that scene. We don't know what's gonna happen to him. And he's got Na'vi paint on him, obviously because he really loves Pandora and wants to be Na'vi. And he's also probably has it so people of each clan know who he is. And he's not wearing that mask again. I think something in that area causes Spider able to breathe without a mask. Then we see Kiri shocked with something sad, like saying, "Oh my God," and think someone dies in the scene. Next we see Jake comforting Neytiri because she's crying either about Natea still or something bad happens to one of her family members or any of her tribe friends, and if they're going to appear in this movie. So, and then we get a look at Recon Quaritch. He's got the red face paint on, and it's all on his shoulders and neck. And then we see him fighting Jake Sully and a bunch of anti-gravity things going. And we see Woloch ready to take a shot at something. Either that's Quaritch he sees or Barang, because I'm pretty sure Quaritch would give him that type of an attitude, ready to take a shot. And there's our small theories that this is possibly he's pointing a gun at Spider, which I doubt it, because him and Spider are basically family. And you can saw in the second film calling him cuz and all that, all the names you can tell. Then we see Jake Sully and Neytiri ready to fight, Barang with a flamethrower and Neytiri snarling, which I can't wait to see Barang and Neytiri fight and Neytiri have a female Na'vi rival. And then the last shot of the trailer is Barang saying, "Your godness has no dominion here." And that's the end of the trailer, and that scene at the end really gives me creeps that the Ash Clan really hate and reject Ayla after their civilization was destroyed by a volcano all those years ago. And I've read that with Avatar Theory, which I'll tag him in his videos, which he's the pro at Avatar stuff. So yeah, that's the end of the teaser trailer. It comes out December 19th. I know this was a long video, and I promised this video would be out. Sorry that took so while. I'm only human after all, people. I'm only human. I'm not a god like Ayla. So yeah, what do you think of the teaser?